Hey guys, and welcome to our official Big Lap series here on YouTube. So Bianca and I have just packed all our entire life's belongings into a storage shed, hit the road in the D-Max, and we can't wait to explore this amazing country.
Absolutely. So we are here to bring you guys along as we hit every state on mainland Australia, and we are going to take you through all the good, the bad, the highs and lows of every campsite we hit and every experience that we have around this whole lovely country.
Absolutely. So we can't wait. Sit back, relax, and let the series begin. We are Daniel and Bianca from Explorebound, and this is our Big Lap series. At the start of 2025, we packed our entire life into our trusty D-Max and headed off for the trip of a lifetime.
Starting in Perth, WA, we are making our way around mainland Australia to try and see as much of this beautiful country as we can fit into the year.
We'll be sleeping in our rooftop tent and living out of our fully custom DIY canopy fit out that's been a year in the making just for this trip.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey while we take you through all the highs and lows that the Big Lap can bring.
This series is proudly supported by Anaconda and also made possible thanks to iTech World, Altic and Tie Gear. Good morning, we are coming to you from the Fitzgerald River National Park down the very bottom of WA, and it's officially the first episode of our Big Lap series, which is just crazy to both of us.
I know, like it feels like just yesterday that we were talking about, oh my God, like we're going to be living on the road soon, and now here we are living on the road, which is just crazy.
Crazy.
Like,
so this is our life right now. So we are currently camped at the 4 Mile campground, which is super fancy. Unfortunately, one of the paid campgrounds, which we are trying to avoid, but sometimes it's a little bit inevitable, and you do get a few perks for your money.
Yeah, so obviously we're in a national park, and those are notoriously hard to find free camps in. Rightly so, they're trying to protect the nature and the reserve that is around here. But yeah, this is one of the more pricey ones. We paid $20 per person per night, so $40 for the both of us. However, we did get some nice amenities.
You do get some pretty nice perks. So we get a couple of toilets, which, you know, it sounds trivial, but it definitely makes a difference when you're out in the middle of the bush. A whole camp kitchen set up with plenty of benches, sinks, cooktops and whatnot, and more importantly, hot showers with decent pressure, nice water temperature. So we're
finally got to wash my hair.
Nice and clean this morning and feeling pretty good. But in saying that, we are coming to the end of our stay here, so it's time to pack down our tent and get on the road.
We are on the road again now, heading to Munglenup Beach. However, on the way, we're actually dropping through Hopetown because we have found some potable water.
So we've been using the WikiCamps app on our phone to not only find our campsites, but also find places we can refill our water tank, which is a bit of a new experience for us. But on the Hopetown boat ramp, there's supposedly a nice place where you can actually refill that water tank with potable water. So a bit of an update, pulled into fill up our water tanks at the Hopetown boat ramp, but it was completely inaccessible. There's apparently a fishing competition going on, so the whole area was absolutely full of vehicles and sausage sizzles and this, that and everything.
Yeah, it was actually something that was, obviously we didn't plan for it, but something you don't even think about. We forgot it was Saturday. Anyway, I asked the lovely firefighters who were doing the sausage sizzle, and they said, oh, there's one other tap in town, but it's in a park. And we went and had a look, and there is a tap there, but you'd need a pretty long hose to get to the tap because it's in a park, so it just wasn't really accessible.
So I decided to go to the supermarket instead and buy ourselves a couple of 10-litre water containers, and that will do us for the next few nights or so, because we can get water in Esperance. We just need to be self-sufficient for the next probably, 4 or 5 days as we explore these national parks. Yeah,
so I estimate we've got about 30-ish, 35 litres of drinking water, and about 10 litres in the tank underneath, so that's plenty to get us by. Like the drinking water is the main thing. You can kind of get by, use minimal stuff when you're cooking.
Yeah.
And we'll just get by. And
if you're conscious of it, you can kind of work around how much capacity you do have.
And absolutely worst case scenario, you have to head out and head into town a couple of days early and then backtrack again. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, so we'll just keep an eye on our water levels and it should be good. So we have just pulled into Starvation Bay for a bit of lunch. Super fancy here. Well, not fancy, but just like nice and picturesque.
Yeah, very picturesque. Not at all what we were expecting. I guess, right. My uncle actually suggested we stop in at Starvation Bay. It was on the big list of beaches that are good.
So quite a few nice looking campsites, some with fire pits that obviously you can use during fire season, which it isn't right now.
Nope, it's very hot.
But we reckon that's not a bad backdrop for a bit of lunch. So we're gonna make up some sandwiches and head down, eat them down by the rocks, I reckon. So we are still traversing tracks, trying to find ourselves a nice campsite for tonight. We pulled into Munganut Beach, super nice spot, lovely sand. We've both decided we like the sand of that beach.
Best sand we've found so far.
It's kind of gritty and not too powdery. Anyway, hard to explain, really nice but completely full, so we can't stay there for tonight. Popular spots, also a long weekend, we learned this morning, so yeah, it's hard to find a campsite tonight. So we are making our way along the coast and Bianca is still at the wheel.
I am, and I'm following goat trails on Google Maps / well, not even Wikicamps anymore, just Google Maps. We're just following the coast along, heading east, hoping that we'll find a place somewhere to park up for the night. Because I mean, that's the downside, right, to being on the road full time, is that you kind of lose track of what day it is and where you are in the year, and didn't even realise it was a long weekend because we don't have 9 to 5 jobs at the moment. We've got a full-time travel job.
7/24.
24/7?
That's the weather. That's what I'm looking for.
7/24.
So we don't need much, we just need a nice flat section of ground, preferably somewhere to put the awning up, somewhere to put the tent up for the night and cook some dinner. So fingers crossed we can find somewhere soon. Bianca's taking us down the tightest track despite my objections.
It was so funny. I was like, it'll be fine. And then as we drive off, it was like, no road.
No road.
It doesn't say no through road, it's just no road.
Not road.
Not a road.
Okay, we're now going through a gate.
Well, it's open, so.
Leave Bianca in charge of our directions for 5 minutes.
Look, see, I told you, we're on someone's farm. Well, we're next to it.
So after a couple of hours of exploring our way along the coast, putting the tyres up, letting them back down again a few times, we have finally found our way to a pretty nice looking campsite for at least tonight.
Yeah, and it's a really well set up campsite. It kind of looks like what I would expect, like a family. It's like a local spot for a family or something. So obviously someone who comes here often.
Yeah, there's like a little rope swing down here, a bit of a bar that's kind of been built around a tree, some hanging buoys,
and lots of little tracks,
pieces.
Lots of tracks that like ferret off into the bush in different directions and stuff. And it's really nice. It's a little spooky, but it's nice.
It's always a bit weird when you pull up somewhere to camp that's kind of already set up as if it's someone's house. You feel a bit like you're intruding, but no one's here. We've got the place all to ourselves. And behind us is this beautiful little protected bay down here that's kind of sheltered by this rock section on the right hand side there, so I reckon that is going to be perfect for a bit of swimming tomorrow morning. So yeah, we're pretty happy with this site. I reckon we'll get camp set up and get stuck into the night.
Yeah, definitely. morning. It is a brand new day, and we were last at Margaret Cove. However, the winds have been somewhat cyclonic, as Daniel would say.
They've been absolutely smashing the coastline. So we get a brief moment in time to enjoy the coast without wind, and then it comes in and essentially kicks us out.
So we decided to move and went inland a little bit and found a lovely little campground called Stokes Inlet Campground, or also Ben Wennerup on Wiki Camps. And
yeah, it's a beautiful spot.
$15 a night per person, so $30 a night for both of us.
Basic amenities, a couple of little barbecue areas and basic toilets, nothing too fancy, but better than nothing.
Yeah, and just nice to have little bays and somewhat protected from the wind. So last night was beautiful, the breeze dropped right off even though it wasn't meant to, but today it has picked up again and it's cranking up the temperature. We are already at 38 degrees and it's only 9 in the morning.
Yeah, so we got up pretty early, packed the tent down, and we're heading down to Skippy Rock, a local beach in this area. Different congregations. Yeah, heading down to Skippy Rocks to essentially enjoy a day by the beach to try and avoid some of this heat. So we have just pulled over to put the tyres down because up ahead the track is starting to get a little bit sandy, so just dropping down to 15 PSI on the front and about 18 on the rear, where there's a fair bit more weight on the back of the D-Max before heading on to Skippy Rocks. So it is currently 44 degrees right now, according to my D-Max thermometer just there. So we opted to put our sunscreen on in the car where the aircon is running before heading down to the beach. I reckon, what, like a minute out in the sun, we're going to be red raw and roasting.
Yes, it is not pleasant, and it's also so windy. Like, this is really kind of catastrophic fire weather, which me being a country person and coming from towns that have had their fair share of some bad, nasty bushfires, and knowing the fires that have been through Esperance in years past.
Yeah, so we've just gone for a bit of a drive through the Skippy Rocks. There's actually a campground here as well with about, I don't know, about 10 sites or so. Some big, some very small. Basic amenities, I think it's just like an honor box system. There's no campground manager here, so rock up, pay your fees and camp at one of those sites. So pretty nice. There is no one here today, as you can expect, because it's like gusts of 50 kilometre an hour winds today and extremely hot. So we have the whole place to ourselves.
Yeah, and we thought this was a beach you could drive onto, but it looks like it's only walk. It's all kind of closed off, and there's a parking spot here, and then a little path down to the beach. So that's why we're sunscreening up.
Yeah. Can you tell Bianca's a high school teacher?
Daniel's making fun of my really trendy hat.
I think I'm just jealous because I wish I had some form of head protection right now because it is hot. That sun is beating down. And walking down the little trail here to Skippy Rocks, and touch wood, it's not very windy on this trail, so there's hope yet that it might be nice down by the beach.
It's sticky. I think want to stay above.
It's one thing when you walk anywhere with Bianca, if there's one of these signs, she will be stopping to read it, guaranteed. What have you learnt?
It's about the birds. There's a sooty oyster catcher, a pied oyster catcher, and a red-capped plover. Jelly scraping the eggs.
Sometimes we just leave her behind. We just continue. So this is Skippy Rocks, incredibly nice down here, actually somewhat sheltered from the wind, beautiful coloured water in front of us, a nice little protected bay. So better than we were expecting and pretty nice place to chill on a very hot day. So we have just called into Esperance, stopped off at the visitor centre to fill our water tanks up, one of these drinking water refill points that we're becoming very fond of as we travel around Australia. So decent pressure, we just made sure it was definitely a drinking water one, which is Wikicamps to try and find where they were. This one is reviewed very highly, so yeah, you have to make sure you bring the corresponding fittings, which I didn't do, or mine was kind of like fused together. So a friendly fellow has lent us his plastic fitting there to adapt to our water. And that means our water tank is officially full and we are ready to get back on the road. So we have just spent the afternoon in Esperance filling up all our supplies, buying some groceries, filling our water tank and filling our fuel tanks as well as our bellies with some delicious lunch from the Dome in Esperance.
Definitely. So I was just saying to Daniel, I jumped in the driver's seat and I was like, wow, you can really feel the difference. Like when you've just topped up the water tank and the fuel tank.
And yourself.
And yourself. You can really feel the difference in the weight of the car. So she's nice and topped up and we're ready to go again.
So as the afternoon kicks on, we've arrived back at camp for this evening and it's semi-set up. I've got my rooftop tent set up halfway to try and get those last few rays of sunlight, although right now they are kind of blocked by clouds, but hopefully we might get a couple of amp hours back into that battery. We're once again staying at Ben Wennerup or Stokes Inlet Campground. $15 a night, but you do get some basic amenities and it's not very windy here right now, which is just lovely. So pretty chill night, just gonna cook some dinner and relax around camp.